I am going to show you 11 different ways people are actually getting rich with online business.
We've already entertained offers for at least $1 or $2 billion.
Well, the top motherfuckers made $100 million.
I know clipping companies who were doing $50 million worth of political campaigns, but nobody knows.
If you're someone who's interested in making money on the internet, I interview these people specifically for you. I'm gonna ungatekeep literally everything and rank each methods with their pros and cons so that by the end of this video, you will know exactly what opportunity to try. You need to understand that every single method on this list is making people right now at least $100,000 a month in profit, with some doing millions. And I somehow managed to get every person on the phone to leak their sauce to you. For context, I am currently doing a bit over $100,000 a month from one of these methods, but to set your expectations, this has literally taken everyone years to build. I'm sorry to break it to you, but I'm going to be brutally honest. If you cannot sit through this video to understand how money is really being made right now, you may not be cut out for this. Which takes me to method number 1. If for some reason you don't already know what TikTok Shop is, sometimes when you're scrolling, you'll come across videos like this one with a shopping cart icon. These are videos created by everyday normal people who get a small commission every single time that you buy something off of their video. The money being made here is ridiculous.
I saw a girl yesterday. She had like over 400K in commission in the past 30 days.
This is Creeks, who just last month made over $90,000 in commission alone. He was able to blow up off of making these very visual videos promoting mainly supplement gummies, which you may have seen. Every single time that somebody buys something that he's selling in one of the videos, he gets a commission anywhere from 10 to 40% depending on the product. Creeks specifically said that he thinks that TikTok Shop is a 1 on 10 difficulty for beginners, and to be honest, I agree. How hard is it to get started in TikTok Shop as a beginner on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest?
I'd say a 1. All it takes really is like, you need like $400 to buy an account and you're basically good to go, or you can just grow the account yourself. But you need like 5K followers to do it. So it's pretty easy to do.
The money that I've been seeing some random moms or college kids making on here just selling products is absolutely stupid. How long do you think that it would take somebody from zero to make their first $1,000 with this?
Even my brother, he had like barely any experience. He was a big gym guy and he just made a video on some hair regrowth product and got his first sale. So it could happen instantly and it could take months. Yeah, 2 months ago, I was at $1,000 for the month and I was like, dude, I don't know if I can do this anymore. The next month, which was last month, I did a little over 90K or roughly 90K.
You can see how crazy this gets because within the span of just 3 months, Creeks went from making $1,000 to $100,000 a month. The top affiliates that are doing this are literally making millions of dollars a year with pretty much zero expenses. That being said, you do need to put the reps in. Creeks had years of content experience before this. I literally tried hiring him in 2023 and had developed a ton of skills which led to this overnight success. The best thing about this method is that there's a ton of different ways to get started here if you're a beginner. Creeks did this program called Creators Corner, which basically helps people get set up on TikTok Shop and then helps them make money. They have these ridiculous case studies taking college kids from doing 0 to 100K a month, and I promise that I'm not being paid to say this, but I talked to the owner of Creators Corner, Jimmy, who said that if you're interested, you can literally just DM him on Instagram. I also talked to my friend Stefan, who runs Faceless TikTok Shop, which is maybe the more shady version of this method. He told me that he went from 0 to $1,000 a day in profit in 10 days, posting these sale baiting slideshow type TikToks that you've probably seen before. So if you don't want to put your face on this, there is this underground world of people posting faceless TikTok Shop videos. You kind of just need to scheme to find yourself a way in. Based on my research, TikTok Shop is a 1 on 10 difficulty. It takes around 4 weeks to make your first $1,000, and there's potential to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. The cons here are that you need a TikTok Shop account that's monetized, which most people get stuck on and cannot get past, and then you actually need a good video format that can drive sales. Despite this though, I am still putting TikTok Shop at S tier. It's definitely what I'm pushing most people to right now as beginners. Next is something that I've personally made the most money on, which is faceless YouTube, so long form and short form. I managed to get 2 absolute goats for the interviews of this section, so you guys need to thank me. So YouTube Faceless, or YouTube automation, or whatever you want to call it, is literally just making YouTube videos with the goal of getting paid through AdSense. The numbers for this method are freaky. Could this first video have made over $100,000?
Yeah.
I'm going to start here by talking about shorts since it's way more beginner friendly. I interviewed Bolt Motivation for this section, who is averaging 16 million views per upload and gave away all of his sauce. He's consistently making 5 figures a month, posting videos like these.
Almost everything we think we know about addiction is wrong. You get a rat and you put it in a cage.
He told me that he gets paid an average of about 20 cents per 1,000 views on YouTube, and this is only going up. I'm going to talk about clipping as another method right after this, but because it's been blowing up so much recently, people have just kind of been posting these really poorly edited Joe Rogan clips with music and subtitles. Bolt's strategy is to completely flip this around by telling amazing stories through clips, pulling from movies, TV shows, celebrity interviews, and then actually adding stuff like voiceovers. I've ran a ton of short channels in the past as well, and it kind of seems like every person who's consistently successful here finds their own little pocket of their formula that works in their niche. Bolt told me that he thinks shorts is about a 5 on 10 in terms of difficulty, and I asked him to explain because I thought that it may have been a bit easier.
If you decide to put the work in and you have talent, you have ideas, and you can make it. If you want to break through, you can.
His whole point for this entire interview was that shorts are 100% skill-based.
There's so much opportunity out there, but it's also skill-based. I see people in Discord being like, my video has like this amount of retention. Like it's clearly a good video. Why isn't it doing it good? Bro, as soon as you have that entitled mindset, like you're cooked.
Even someone like Bolt, who literally has videos with over 100 million views, is still ultra harsh on himself and trying to improve something each video. To get monetized here, you need 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and 10 million qualified shorts views, which took Bolt personally around 3 months to get. My friend Fam just launched a shorts channel called Pushing Positivity. I think I'm making another video covering that whole story because it's absolutely insane. It took him a month to get monetized on the channel, and then 90 days later, he was making $10,000 a month in profit off of AdSense. And if you were curious about how much the top guys are making,
the top 0.01%, they're making like 500K per month, but I'd say like GOAT status is definitely like 50K per month and up.
To get started here, as a beginner, I have made a ton of videos on my channel showing us blowing up short channels, talking about how to blow them up, etc. If you go to viewmax.io/learn, I made a full course for free, no strings attached, covering literally everything that you need to know about starting a shorts channel. And then if you still want more help, you can buy the professional tier of Viewmax, and I will personally respond to any questions you have about YouTube and review your videos. YouTube Shorts is a 5 on 10 difficulty, but to be honest, I think it could be even lower. It should take around 2 months to make your first $1,000, and there's potential to make over 6 figures a month. The main con here is that you actually have to be able to make good videos, but this is getting easier with AI softwares like Viewmax, and then also you need a channel that's monetized, so 1,000 subscribers and 10 million qualified views. Despite this though, I am still putting it at S tier, probably right after TikTok Shop. Not everything is going to be S tier, I promise you, but this is just the actual rankings for beginners getting into new methods. Next is YouTube Longform, and while it is kind of similar to the previous section, there are still some key differences. I talked to a guy named Jared West for this section, who is also a Minecraft YouTuber named McYum, who also ran a ton of Faceless Longform channels, including one of the biggest in the space called Dr. Insanity. This guy is like the LeBron of Faceless YouTube. Like Bolt Motivation on the previous section, Jared gets paid off of AdSense, but on long form, per 1,000 views, you make anywhere from $2 to $10, sometimes going even higher than that. Long form YouTube is a 7 on 10 hard. This is because shorts have a way lower barrier to entry, cost less money, and are just generally easier to blow up on, especially if you're a beginner. I actually started making money online back when I was 15 doing long form Fortnite YouTube during COVID. I got lucky pretty early and my channel blew up, which led to me getting a $100,000 month off of AdSense. So it's not like you can't do this or anything like that. Just to win at the highest level here, you do need to have more skills than some of these other methods. I would say that the average I see is taking about 3 months to make your first $1,000 off of a fresh, brand new long form channel. I ran a Faceless documentary channel called Genesis a couple years ago, and within the first 6 weeks, we had made $10,000. But to do this, we spent $5,000 without seeing any return, and I already had script writing and voiceover and editing experience and everything like that. The good thing though about long form compared to short form is that it's significantly more consistent. If you're willing to put the work in to make great videos, this method is amazing for you. And as long as you keep grinding at it, your skills will keep compounding and you'll keep on making more and more money. The top people that I know running Faceless channels are literally printing millions of dollars a month with hundreds of employees. It's insane. I asked Jared what most people suck at when making videos, and this was his response.
I would say I'm going to put myself into this because this is something I'm quite bad at. I tend to try and be more perfectionist than I should be. I tend to be like, I need an absolute killer team. I need the perfect team. I need this. I need that. And a lot of the time, you literally just need to start.
If you're interested in long form specifically, I have one video posted on my channel where I dive really deep into how to make money and get started with it. YouTube long form is a 7 on 10 difficulty. It'll take about 3 months to make your first $1,000, and there is potential to make millions of dollars a year. The cons are that there's usually an upfront cost here to make things easier, like hiring an editor, and you need to not get discouraged for losing money for a little while. And then other than that, it is just way more complicated than something like YouTube Shorts. For that reason, we are putting YouTube Faceless into B tier. Clipping is the next thing that I want to talk about because it's probably the most popular method right now.
I know clipping companies who are doing $50 million worth of political campaigns, but nobody knows.
This is Nathan, who is basically the GOAT of clipping. He runs an agency where he gets big budgets from brands to clip whatever they want, usually selling their product or service.
Currently, we're doing about $120,000 a month clipping. Amalfi Jets is huge on social media right now. We're doing all of their content. We've worked with people like American Idol, Jonas Brothers, Sports Illustrated, as well as the co-founders of all the brands to build their following on socials through clipping.
He told me that clipping is a 2 on 10 difficulty, but I actually think that it may be the easiest method to get into on this list. You need no money up front, you can do literally everything on your phone, and you don't even need to get an account monetized. Especially now with stuff like WAP Content Rewards, you can literally see the top brands that are putting budgets up for clips, and if you can get those views, you'll get paid literally right away. Nathan told me that on average it takes about 30 to 45 days for somebody to make their first $1,000 with this, but then showed me this example.
I'll have people that will show, like, literally the guy on screen, this guy joined in August of 2025 and he made $500 on one of his first videos he ever submitted to the campaign.
The how much you can make clipping is interesting here. The top clippers are making anywhere from 20 to 50K a month, which, don't get me wrong, is still amazing, but the top guys in basically all of these other methods are making millions of dollars.
From clipping, I personally know people who are doing $10,000 to $25,000 a month. I know people who are doing more, but those are the ones who are doing these crazy, gambling campaigns every single day. I know people that are doing $30,000, $40,000 a month from that.
The trade-off with clipping is that because it's so easy to get into, the ceiling for just a clipper isn't really that high. Usually what happens is when somebody has success in clipping, they pivot away into a higher leverage opportunity, but if you're not doing anything, this is still an amazing method to start. Here's what Nathan said when I specifically asked him how to get started as a beginner.
If you guys want to get into clipping in general and learn about it, my YouTube is probably the best resource for that. It's at NateJBiz, or just search up Nathan Johnson Clipping. Now, if you guys want to do mass clipping in terms of WAP and get paid, go on WAP, make an account. I have videos walking you through everything, and then we have a group called Clip Farm, so I partnered with the YouTuber Eric on this, and in this community I have a learn to clip section. All of the, if you're out of the country, here's how to hit USA demographics, how to actually edit a clip on CapCut, finding viral videos, what is clipping, all that kind of stuff is there for you guys. And we also have campaigns that are going to be active in here, and campaigns that I run, so you guys know you're not going to get scammed and you're actually going to get paid.
Clipping is a 2 out of 10 difficulty, but low-key, it is definitely the easiest on this list. It'll take you about 30 days to make your first $1,000, and you can make anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 a month, $50,000 a month if you want to run a gambling clipping deal. The main thing here, though, is that there is literally zero barrier to entry. It's by far the easiest to get into. If you can pull views on a clip, then you will get paid. I am putting it in A tier, though, just because it's limited by a low upside. This next method is literally 100% skill-based, and if you are good at the skill, you can make $50,000 to $100,000 per month. Ben has been doing sales, specifically high-ticket online closing, for the last 3 years, and he told me that he thinks this is the easiest method to get into as a beginner. How hard would this method be to start on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest?
1.
Easy?
If you are able to speak, then you can learn this skill.
He's the chief sales officer of a company called Net Revenue that sells for some of the biggest creators in the space. They literally directly sell millions of dollars of products a month. As a sales rep, your job is to close people on a product or service. For example, imagine that I wanted to sell you a $10,000 mentorship and had 10 people that wanted to buy it every day. Your job as a sales rep is to get on a call with those leads and then explain to them how the coaching or course solves their problem. You then usually get paid 5 to 20% of whatever the product is that you sell, assuming that you got the person to buy it. Because this type of sales role is usually purely commission-based, you can make anywhere from a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 within within your first few days.
Oh, there's a lot of things that'll go into it, right? Like what you're selling, what your commission structure looks like. However, I've seen people make $1,000 as quickly as taking their first ever sales call. Sometimes I've seen it take, a couple of weeks depending on their success rate. But once again, what you want is to have a skill set that allows you to pay you every day, every week, not just once.
Ben told me that the top guys are making $50,000 to $100,000 a month off of just the commission. They don't own a business, they don't have to manage the customers, and they literally just get on calls to close the prospects.
If we're talking, I want to make, $100,000 a year, let's say, which is a very, very respectable income, you can do that in your first year. I did way more than that in my first year.
If you're interested in getting into this, the company that Ben's at called Net Revenue is constantly hiring, but you need to be really good at sales. The best advice that Ben gave to beginners trying to get into this is to find a mentor so that you can fast track your success and make all of your mistakes as fast as you possibly can to achieve success.
100% you should get trained. There's a couple of really, really good books I would recommend. First one being is Never Split the Difference. And I think from there, you can start getting into more sophisticated content online with certain resources that are very reputable, and then definitely getting a coach. You can role play with people. You can get feedback on your calls. You can listen to yourself, the way you communicate, the way you listen, what your body language looks like. And most importantly, have somebody who's either already done or doing what you want to do help you get there way faster. Everybody gets farther with support.
Ben told me that if you can talk, you can do sales. 1 on 10 difficulty, though being a good salesperson is hard. It can take anywhere from a week to 2 months to make your first $1,000, and there's potential to make $50,000 to $100,000 a month just off of commission. The cons here are that you need to be really good at sales. If you're not good at talking to people or selling, just don't do this. I'm putting this one at B tier, but if you think that you are sort of like this natural salesperson, I would put this at S tier for you, and you should definitely do this. Sales is one of the most overpowered skills that you can possibly have in business. When you're a sales closer, like the method before this, you're usually working with another person called a growth operator. These guys basically partner with coaches or course sellers to convert all of their views from social media into actual paying customers. Whenever somebody buys, they usually split a percentage of the sale with the guy who actually runs the program. This is obviously a bit more niche than something like TikTok Shop, but the guy that I talked to for this is literally 17 years old, and
around February of this year, I would have generated $1 million in profit for myself personally, take home. We're not talking revenue numbers, we're talking profit here.
He was also absolutely mogging my setup. Yusuf told me that out of 10, growth operating is an 8 or a 9 for a beginner to get into just because you need so many skills stacked on top of each other. The last method was just sales, but this method is sales plus copywriting plus content plus ads plus media buying plus conversion funnels. Because of that, this was Yusuf's answer when I asked him how long it would take for a beginner to make their first $1,000.
I think because of the negative connotation it has, you really need to understand what you're doing. And if you understand what you're doing, you're not just gonna make $1,000, you're gonna make a lot more money than that. It honestly just depends on your skills. If you know what you're doing, then you can make $1,000 pretty quickly within 2-3 weeks working with someone. If you don't know what you're doing and you're sort of just trying stuff as you go, then it's obviously going to take you a lot longer than that.
Since this is pretty complex, the ceiling for how much the top guy's making is way higher.
And I've seen people, make tens of millions of dollars being people's back-end growth operators. And these guys have no social medias. They're in the shadows, and you only can get to work with them if you have been referred to work with these guys. So there are some absolute schemers on the back end that just print tens and tens of millions of dollars with this.
His advice, if you're a beginner, is to be the best at one specific skill in your niche and then sell that as your first service. He said that your reputation is super important, so don't be afraid to work for free in the beginning and put zero risk on your client, and then get creative at all times to make things happen. Once you've done a couple launches of products, then you can start stacking your skills and broaden what you're offering. To end off, he also said this, which I think is pretty important for you to hear.
And the honest truth about this is there's no one right way. In fact, you actually have to find your own path depending on where you're currently at and where you're actually trying to get to. Funny enough, that's why I'm building my own sort of platform that shows you where you're trying to get to, where you're currently at, and gives you the education and tools that you need in order to reach that path.
Growth operating is a 9 on 10 difficulty. It'll take 2 to 3 months, sometimes longer, to make your first $1,000, but there is potential to make tens of millions of dollars a year. The cons here are that growth operating obviously has a really bad connotation because it's like selling courses and stuff like that. You also need to stack multiple skills to be successful in this, and it's in this really competitive small niche. Because of all of this, I'm putting it at D tier for beginners. I'm sorry, Yusuf, you are goated for making $1 million off of this at age 17. This next one I get asked about a lot, and it's something that I personally ran from ages 18 to 19 to make over $1 million. This is Dagwummy, a content creator who made a game in Fortnite called Minigame Box PvP that absolutely prints.
Yeah, I'll just say the Fortnite.gg is almost perfectly accurate at the upper limit. So
That is
yeah.
insane. Compared to these other methods, this one might seem like the hardest because you need to learn how to make full video games, but it's actually getting easier.
Out of 10, I would say probably a 6 or 7 then. But it has gotten easier over time because they just introduced like an AI verse assistant. Like I have friends who really only have a basic understanding of Fortnite devices. You know, now that they've introduced more of those learning tools, they're able to create games that have made them tens of thousands of dollars, kind of as a beginner. So
when I ran Fortnite maps with Dean back in 2023, within 90 days of knowing about the program, we had done over $500,000 in profit. And while that still could happen, it's way harder, especially if you're starting from zero.
You could realistically make $1,000 in 30 to 60 days, I'd say, from start to finish.
The top guys like Panville are still making millions of dollars a month, and they have been since the program dropped in 2023. Dagwami's advice to beginners is that you need to actually understand what makes a game fun and then find a specific area to capitalize on. Game development, specifically on platforms like Fortnite and Roblox, is a 7 on 10 difficulty right now. It should take about 30 to 60 days to make your first $1,000, and the top guys are doing millions of dollars a month still. The cons here are that it's hard to make really good games, and you need to be really good at marketing those games. This is true for all of the methods, but especially for game deving, you need to stick with this for a very long time to actually see it panning out, because the skill set is valuable, but making games is just such a niche skill. Like, for example, the people who make the most money on Roblox right now all have been making games for over 10 years. I'm putting this at C tier, but if you're obsessed with making and marketing games, then you should definitely do this. This next one probably has the most money flowing through it, and it also has the people that I know who are printing the most money. Joseph, the guy that I talked to for this section on e-commerce, helped Feastables Chocolate, Mr. Beast Chocolate Company, get to overdoing $100 million a year in sales.
Now I'm helping other really fast-growing brands get to the level of scale that we got for Feastables, which is north of $100 million a year across all things growth and retention.
Joseph's Twitter says that he is a fractional head of retention and LTV growth for 8+ figure brands, which basically means that he helps companies that sell products make more money and keep their customers for longer. As I said before, the amount of money in this space is just dumb.
I've worked with brands just even in the past year that went from $0 to $6 million a month within just a year.
E-commerce specifically is a bit difficult to rate on a scale of how hard it is. It's significantly easier if you have a good amount of money to invest to get started, but you can do this for $0 by doing stuff like launching your products on TikTok Shop.
It depends how much money you have. People can make a shit ton of money on a really low budget, but usually the people who are able to do that are really good at content. If you think you're just gonna like turn on a random Facebook ad, it's gonna be really hard for you.
There's no one set path, but overall, compared to some of these other methods, I would say that this is about an 8 on 10 difficulty. A big positive about e-commerce is that if you know what you're doing, you can make a ton of money super quickly.
He's 21. He just launched his own e-com brand, has absolutely zero experience. And within 30 days, he made, I think, more than $5,000 to $10,000. And just recently, after like a few months, he already had his first like $2,000 or $3,000 day.
Obviously, the potential for how much money you can make is basically unlimited. Like some of the top companies in the world are literally e-commerce brands, but I did want to include what Joseph said when I asked him this question.
We've already entertained offers for at least $1 or $2 billion. The goal is definitely to sell for a lot more than that. And that's only within just like 2 or 3 years of building the company.
To get started and be comfortable, Joseph said that you would need at least $50,000 to $100,000 to buy products and spend on marketing. I'm going to assume that 99% of you guys watching this cannot afford that. So then I asked Joseph how to get started with $0.
Yeah, just look at what products are like trending on TikTok, and then you can easily just create like a spin-off of that. Anybody can win in content. You already know content better than me. It just takes one video to pop off and you will literally sell out completely.
E-commerce is an 8 on 10 difficulty. It'll take about a month to make your first $1,000, and the top guys are making billions of dollars, obviously. The cons here are that if you do it the traditional way, you need money to invest into this. There's also no real clear-cut path for being successful here. Everybody finds their own individual path with what products they're selling and everything like that. Traditional e-commerce, if you're a beginner, is a D or an F tier, but if you're launching products and selling them organically through something like TikTok Shop, then I would put it at C tier. Once again, the guys that I know right now who are making the most money are doing e-commerce. Next is viral SaaS, which means software as a service. You've probably seen apps get promoted to you while you're scrolling, like Cal.ai, which was founded by a literal teenager just 2 years ago that's now doing $3 million a month. I talked to Steven for this section, who built an app to 40K a month, sold it, and then now rebuilt an app that's doing 100K a month.
I build viral mobile apps. I build, scale, and exit viral mobile apps.
He also built the super famous game Wordle, sort of. He told me that it was a very long story. The whole angle of these apps is that they're built around being able to go viral. Steven's first app counted how many times you hit a vape and then helped you quit, which was perfect to promote on social media.
Yeah, so I scaled my previous app, Puff Count, to 44K in monthly recurring revenue before I exited and sold the business to a larger mobile app studio. And my current app, which is called Posted, last month we did 90K in revenue.
He told me that over the past few years, making a software has gotten significantly easier, especially with these AI tools that are coming out right now, which is why it's a 4 on 10 difficulty to just make an app. But then actually making it successful is completely different.
Building a mobile app is simple. It's not easy. Me, for example, I started building mobile apps when I was 15. It was way harder back then than it is now, right? You can vibe code your way to a simple little mobile app in like less than a day. Having a successful mobile app, though, is a little bit more tricky. There's some tips and tricks involved. I don't think it's that hard at all.
The startup phase for this is similar to something like game development, where you'll put a ton of work in just to build the product or game beforehand, but then once it's made and out there, all that you have to do is market it. How long do you think it would take for a beginner to make their first $1,000?
If you're doing it correct, anywhere between a month to like 4 months. The most time-consuming part is building the app. Once it's live, all you have to do is market it. That's it.
Like e-commerce, the ceiling here for how much the top guy's making is absolutely ridiculous. Apps like Duolingo are worth over $10 billion, and there's a ton of guys getting into the space doing multiple millions of dollars in revenue within their first couple years. How much are you seeing people making?
Dude, I mean millions of dollars every single month.
Steven's best advice here is to build products with intention. It doesn't make sense to launch anything if people won't buy it. Build something that's intrinsically viral that you can get out quickly and then just drive a ton of traffic to it.
The scale is unlimited. Once your product is live, how good are you at marketing? That's it. That's the scale.
He showed me specific examples of how software is getting way easier to make, and if you're interested, he talks a ton about viral SaaS in depth on his YouTube channel.
You can go here, codecanyon.net, and you can buy a template of a mobile app. Boom. Here are a bunch of pre-made fitness apps. These are like templates, if you will. This is probably the easiest way to start, if I was to recommend. No one knows about this shit.
Building and being successful with a software app is a 7 on 10 difficulty according to Steven, though it may be more difficult than that. It'll take about 1 to 4 months to make your first $1,000, and the top guys have literally billion-dollar companies. The cons here is that software is the most competitive shit ever. It's hard and can get complicated, even though it is getting easier with AI building tools right now. You need a super specific skill set of being able to make and market viral products to be successful in this. For beginners, I'm putting this at D tier unless you're really good at developing or doing influencer marketing or something like that. Becoming an influencer is something that you've definitely thought of before and you may have already tried. The top influencers are making hundreds of millions of dollars on what might seem to you as just TikTok dances, but I promise there's a strategy here. This is Jake, who was one of the fastest growing TikTokers last year with his girlfriend Summer. They have been making a ton of money.
I've gone the ad revenue route, and then I've gone the brand deal route. Ad revenue route is more so like you'll have months where you make a ton of money, like because it's based on how hard you work or how smart you work. So you can make upwards of like 200K. Like during Snapchat times, off of ad revenue alone, I made like 200K in 1 month, but I wasn't able to keep doing that because I let my ego get to me. And then as a creator, you hit like creative blocks, and then you're basically like, oh shoot, I did good this 1 month. Now this month I'm not doing too good. And that is very stressful. On the other side of things, I built my personal brand and it's more consistent now because people pay me for my face instead of just like me grinding 24 hours a day, trying to come up with the best trends, trying to get the most views. Now it's like, here's $10,000, make a video for us. Here's $12,000, make a video for us. Like a year and a half ago, I went from 0 to 1 million followers in 6 months. Not because I was super entertaining or I hit like a crazy trend and it blew me up. It's because I had all the skills from the past 5 years.
He said that if you were a complete bot, becoming an influencer is a 3 on 10 difficulty, but the beginning stages is when it's the hardest because there's the most pain and humiliation.
If you're a complete bot, it is easy. I would say it's a 7, but it takes time. That's the only thing.
Like some of these other methods, you need to do work for a while to get to this baseline before you start making any money. Jake told me that if you knew what you were doing, it would take about 4 months to build a following to make your first $1,000, but then you would just keep making money from there.
I'd say if you copy and paste someone's playbook, it should take you around like 4 months to get to your first $1,000.
And then the thing about it is once you make your first 1,000, it's easier to make the next one, right?
100%, easy.
When I asked him how much you could make, he said this.
If you're able to average millions of views, you can make like 100K a month in Q4, like easy.
And the top influencers like Charlie D'Amelio have made hundreds and millions of dollars, obviously. His advice to beginners was to get a mentor or somebody that you're taking heavy inspiration from, post at least once a day, learn content skills, and then find your differentiator. He also talked to me about the amount of uncertainty that you feel doing this because being a content creator, there's just so many ups and downs.
I remember there was times where I literally couldn't pay my rent because I wasn't making enough money. So you gotta go through struggles like that to get to a position like this.
According to Jake, even if you're a complete bot, this is a 3 on 10 difficulty. It'll take about 4 months to make your first $1,000, though that could be quicker, and the top people are making hundreds of millions of dollars. The main con here is that you will get laughed at by your peers. You will get discouraged, and being an influencer is probably not the glamorous lifestyle that you think it is. I'm actually going to put this one at B tier. Just make sure that you are making content that actually has a differentiator where you are putting your own twist to things. Creator services is probably one of the most gatekept methods of all time. When I say creator services, you probably don't know what that means, so here's my roommate Dean explaining it.
Creator services is basically the business model where you help creators make money with their content, but you don't actually do content related tasks, or you're not making the content yourself. So an example would be a creator is big on YouTube, but he doesn't have a Snapchat presence, and you know the Snapchat platform really well. So you take his existing content and then repurpose it onto Snapchat, and then you get paid a percentage of the revenue that generates on that platform. Our peak was $1 million a month. I want to say lifetime across all creative services revenue is like over $20 million.
Dean has been doing a ton of different creator services over the past 5 years now, literally getting creators from cold email to work with him on whatever platform service they were offering at the time. When I first heard of him back in 2023, he was like this legendary tycoon boss that had over 250 Snapchat shows that were printing.
I've been doing this for like 4 years, 4 to 5 years.
He said that creator services is interesting to rate on a difficulty scale. If you're starting completely on your own, wanting to get into it and just looking for methods, it's definitely an 8 or 9 on 10 difficulty. But Dean strongly does not recommend that to get started.
If you're starting on your own, it's like an 8. If you're going and working for somebody who's already established in this, then it's more like a 3, 2 or 3.
Based on that same logic, if you're just starting out, it will usually take you months to make your first $1,000. You need to be looking to take on a high commission role at a company that already has the method and then learn all of the skills to position yourself for when another creator service comes around.
If you're starting on your own without going to somebody, which I don't recommend, that's gonna take you like maybe like a couple months. If you literally have no experience in doing this. Now, if you're going to somebody who already has established credibility and like a name for themselves or other creators on the roster that you can use to help get more creators, then you can do that in your first month. You just need to have like a high commission role at an existing entity that's doing this, and then you can make money quick and easy. I would always recommend going to that company first and learning and like building some social proof for yourself, and then going and doing it on your own.
We're gonna say it'll take you about 3 months to make your first $1,000, but this really depends on so many things. Most people don't know this, but the top companies like Jelly Smack were making you money for the longest time.
Well, the top motherfuckers made $100 million doing this. A company called Jelly Smack, we're literally making $100 million in revenue doing creator services on Facebook and Snapchat, and they were just really early to it. But these new platform programs come out every single year, so capturing one of these early and making a lot of money off of it is not unrealistic at all.
Dean literally leaked the exact playbook for how to get started as a beginner, so I'm just gonna let that play.
Okay, here's the playbook. This is exactly what I did. When I was first getting into this, I found somebody who was already succeeding in the business model, and I went up to him at a party and asked to be his assistant. But for you, I don't know how likely that is. So you can just try and get any job, work completely for free, because the value is not in the money that you're gonna make, especially when you're 16. It's literally in just getting the information, getting the skill sets. Once you have that, then you can take all that social proof and skill set to your own business and succeed way faster. This process, it took me like a year and a half of working for somebody else before I did it on my own. But that was because I was like too nervous to even send an email or talk to anybody on the phone. So it varies depending on, I guess, how old you are and your experience, but that's what I would do.
There's a new big creator service once or twice a year. Like recently it's been the YouTube Music program or TikTok shop agencies, or maybe now it's clipping agencies or something like that. You just need to put yourself in a position to be able to capitalize it when that opportunity comes around. Creator services is a 9 on 10 difficulty. It'll take about 3 months to make your first $1,000, though it literally could take you longer. And the top guys are making over $100 million a year. I'm putting creator services for beginners at F tier, and Dean might get mad at me for hating on it that much. You can make a ton of money with it, like Dean showed, but it's just fucking hard. There's a ton of skills you need to learn, and you need specific connections to make this stuff work, and there's also a specific way that you need to think to be able to make money on platforms without getting banned. If you can catch a Snapchat shows type wave though, then obviously you should do that. This video took me way longer than I thought it would take me, so I hope that you actually try and get rich off of one of these methods and then thank me when you buy your mom a house. If you want to make viral videos, check out ViewMax at the top link in the description. And if you want to ask me social media questions or review your videos, check out the pro plan of ViewMax. Thank you and goodbye.